Hey everybody, welcome to Super Dope Plus
Ultra.
Nice,
Sorry,
Kyle.
I wanted to get in on that shit this week. Sorry. Hey,
Yeah,
Kelly, how are
okay.
you?
How you doing?
I'm great. I just yelled Plus Ultra right over you, and feel like I've been seen very early on in the episode, so we're off to a solid start.
Nice. All right. So you're playing Interrupting Turtle.
Interrupting Turtle who? Shit. Is this a joke setup?
Is
I'm
that
not
how
really
it
sure
goes?
how jokes work. No, it's Interrupting Cow.
Moo. Oh yeah,
Moo,
because
yeah.
you moved during it.
Yeah.
We worked it out in the end.
Yeah, I'm glad I remembered.
Me too, because I didn't know what I was talking
Moo.
about.
Word. So,
Well,
Boku no Hero Academia, they have some things that they yell at each other and over
a few
each
things. Plus Ultra.
other. Like that.
Being one of them.
Yes.
So what's up, Kyle? What'd you think of this episode 98, That Which Is Inherited?
So I have watched it 3 times now. Just
Nice.
most recently within the last hour. This
Same.
most recent time I didn't cry, which was an improvement over the first 2 times. I cry at everything though, so that's not really saying much. Anytime they give me a little baby a Choco flashback,
That was cute.
I'm such a sucker for that shit. But to see Deku have this thing happen and Shinso having a quiet, kind of understated moment himself.
Yes.
Plus, there was a lot of cool action just going on in the background. Monoma is the ultimate villain somehow.
He is.
His hero name is Phantom Thief.
I liked that actually.
But like, isn't a thief a criminal? Isn't a thief a villain?
Yeah. But he does like copy people's quirks, so maybe he thinks of it as like stealing, like sort of like stealing their quirk.
Yeah, temporarily. I guess. He's a thief of joy. He's a thief of quiet moments. Yeah.
Maybe he thinks he steals people's hearts.
No, he steals my goddamn patience. Anyway,
okay.
Let's pick it up at the beginning of the episode.
Absolutely. So, I mean, they started off perfect because we get a really quick recap of the last fight, which had been really fast-paced and a really awesome episode anyway, and they had cool, like, rock music with it, right? I thought that they started it off really upbeat.
I'm trying to remember the song that they used at the beginning of the episode. In my brain, though, it goes... Something like that.
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, definitely. And it was cool. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, Bakugo kicked butt. Fight number 4. Absolutely.
Shit like that.
100%. That's what it was like. And they have us start off. We're like in prison. We're in Tartarus. That's what it's called, right? Their prison.
I don't know. I was about to say, is that the real name or did you just make that up?
No, I think that they call their prison Tartarus, which is like the prison from Greek mythology.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
good
Tartarus.
Pull. Didn't know that. I was going to assume that it was a slight Doctor Who ripoff and that they need some prison within the realm of space and time because only that would be able to hold All for One.
All for One. I feel like it's been so long since we've actually seen All for One. It was crazy having a reference back to him. They were just reminding us, like, yeah, we've been having some kid versus kid fights and it feels all fun and we're in high school, but don't forget that there is a super baddie out there and he's been acting up in jail.
And that's 10 episodes. I think this is episode 10 of the 5th season. Don't really think we see him at all in season 4. It's pretty much just overhaul. And season 3, they actually reference like a one-off kind of one-shot episode that I don't really remember that well, but I do remember that it's Gran Torino focused. Maybe he's working with Tsukauchi, but they talk about that big, crazy monster in the woods, Gigantomachia, I think is what it is.
I don't know. I think of him as Gigantos.
That's cool too. Gigantomachiatos. So when the hell did that happen? Is that the end of season 3?
I think that happened when they were doing the overhaul arc, and that's why Gran Torino wasn't there or involved. I think that's where they were.
Good call, because the Deku definitely does make a remark when they're getting ready to move on the Shie Hasaikai. Ooh, pull! Nice. I remember when they're making a move on their whatever hideout in the morning. He's like, I wonder why Gran Torino isn't here. It makes no sense, and it's because
he's on a secret mission
doing the thing.
Yeah, looking for a giant.
So All for One just woke up and said that he hears his brother's voice calling to him. What did he say? I can hear my brother's voice. That's it.
I can hear my brother's voice. Yes. And it seems like maybe up until this point, he must have been being pretty dormant because the guards are mentioning, like, this prisoner's been moving around a lot the last 2 days. So it's like, something's happened in the last 2 days that's got All for One. He says moving with memories. Ugh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
We got a flashback of him, or like, not even a flashback, just a quick cut to, I think, baby Shigaraki, and I think him grabbing his brother by the head, like, all at once. I miss Shigaraki. I never thought I'd say that. I kind of just miss the League of Villains in general. It's
been a while.
We've seen Dabi fairly recently, but that's pretty much it.
Even so, it was very brief.
Yeah, kind of lame. I miss Shigaraki. Twice. Me too. That Deadpool knockoff mofo. Yeah, and also a little crazy. I think his birthday's coming up soon.
Okay. I think his name is Jin, if I remember correctly.
So All for One hearing his brother's voice, that might have something to do with the time. I mean, eventually we get the Gran Torino conversation with All Might in the next scene, but having, seeing what happens on the other side of this episode, knowing that the former holders of One for All are starting to give the quirk to Deku or whatever.
Yeah, awaken maybe. I don't know. I think is a good
word. Is that why All for One? See, this is going to be a toughie.
I know.
Is that why All for One can suddenly hear his brother's voice out of nowhere because the time approaches?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it. He says he's been able to hear it for the last 2 days. Midoriya had that dream literally the night before, where
True.
he'd spoken to him. So I think that that's very heavily implied, yeah. I like that they just reminded us about him. You know what I mean? Like, put him back into the forefront of everyone's minds. Like, hey, don't forget about this bad guy. Like, this is who we're facing. Watch out.
This is the big bad here. I kind of forgot that Deku had the dream just the night before, though, because it
seems like it's been so long.
Since the end of last season. I mean, they've cut back to it a couple of times at the beginning of this season, but 10 episodes later, I'm surprised he didn't mention it at some point in his whole freak out in this episode, being like, oh no, this is
I had that dream.
Yeah.
No, I know it does seem like it's been a year and 3 months because that's like how long it's been for us, but
nope, like
it's
8
only
hours.
Been a day. Yep.
Like if it's like 9 o'clock in the morning while they're doing this class and Deku had that dream at around 4 a.m.
Yeah.
5 hours later, some shit happens again.
Crazy. And then also we get, All Might gets a phone call. What did you think of All Might's ringer?
It's not the first time we've seen this ringer.
Is it? Oh.
It's not. Every time it happens, it makes me laugh. And as it makes me laugh, I think to myself, I would maybe change my ringtone to that. And then, like, it takes him forever to get it out of his pocket. And I'm just like, never mind. This is actually getting annoying. Stop it.
I hate it.
First of all, who the hell keeps their ringer on all the time?
No, I know. I can't remember the last time I had my phone off silent.
My ringer comes through when I have my headphones in, which is constantly. So I guess I hear my phone ringer nowadays more than I used to. But other than that, like, if I don't have it plugged in, my phone ringer is never audible.
And it's always just whatever the default is. Like, changing your ringer is so 2012, right?
I was going to say it's more like 2005.
It was like a long time ago. It's not cool to do anymore.
Well, if I'm going to change my ringtone, why don't I change my telephone number to have one of those callback tones, where it's like, call Kyle and listening to this song while you wait for your party to answer the phone. And it's like, look at this photograph. Because my name's Kyle, so obviously I'd pick a song from Nickelback.
Absolutely. Honestly, low-key, Nickelback's pretty good.
Nah, let's not get crazy, I say. But yes,
I'm allowed to have my opinions.
Yeah, but that was a bad one that you should have just kept to yourself.
Don't try to censor me, Kyle. This won't work out.
Yeah, good point. So I would probably at least consider having that ringtone, but ultimately, no. I would just opt for silence because...
It's so cringy.
I value silence.
What do you think the other teachers think of All Might?
That he fucking loves himself.
That he's severely narcissistic, yeah.
Yeah, which isn't wrong. I mean, I was thinking about it today, watching the opening song. Finally, the opening song has hooked into me, and I get excited when I hear it. It took a little while. It took whatever 10 episodes now, but I finally like it enough to be like, once it hits the da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, I'm like, hell yeah, the song's cool. But there's a moment in there where they flash through all the teachers, like Vlad and Aizawa. Vlad's doing his, big melodramatic commentary thing. Aizawa's kind of looking at him like, man, this dude crazy. And then you got Midnight over here getting all hyped up about all the students and all the powers they're showing off and how much they've grown. And then it flashes to All Might, and he's got his stupid little skeleton face on, and he looks kind of sad for a moment. And then his eyes like look around and pick up, and the smile comes back. And I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like that's a commentary about how he's sad that maybe he's not able to have the same sort of impact or role that he had previously. But this is him kind of coming to terms with things are going to be okay because everything else is sort of normal around him in terms of the teachers or whatever. But that then was juxtaposed against all of them hating him for that stupid ringtone. So
yes, I think they think he's pretty lame. I feel like awkward.
I think Aizawa thinks he's lame because Aizawa is like Prince Daddy Darkness. So
yeah.
I feel like Midnight probably likes him less now that he is much less beefy.
Yeah. I never think about how it must be for All Might, but it must be kind of really hard for him.
Yeah, man. It's because you're really rude and you're not considerate of All Might's feelings.
Yes, that is all true. Check and check.
Check and mate and be nicer to All Might.
Oh,
anyway,
I'll add it to the list.
Gran Torino is calling to give him some information about Nana Shimura and how he suddenly remembered. I guess he describes it as an old man's memory of a memory or something. An old man's memory of an old memory.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
Very strange.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was just like a phrase that makes more sense in Japan and doesn't translate well.
Yeah, like a clunky translation. Like even when the scene starts, All Might's like, hey, sorry, dude, we're in class right now. And he's like, no, listen, this is what I'm calling you for. And the translation was like, oh, you're already starting already?
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, gee, this is such an awkward translation this week. I don't know who did it, but
the main guy was on vacation.
Yeah, it was Memorial Day weekend. So dude didn't have his usual people available to him. It was clunky translation, but
I agree.
He basically calls to tell him, I remember Nanashimura giving me this story 40
flashback.
plus years ago about a dream she had that, at least how she describes it, sounds like almost what Deku experiences when he sees the previous holders, the vestiges of One for All.
Yes, with some pretty distinct differences, though. I mean, she says, like, he was blurry and she couldn't really see him. And for Midoriya, he could see them all very clearly.
Today he could. I mean, when he first sees them in the sports festival, they're basically just eyes. Yeah, they're like blurs with eyes.
The shadows, yeah, that's true. And to her, he says, oh, it's not the right time yet.
Yeah, the time has not yet come. The time has not yet come.
Dun, dun, dun.
What does that mean?
For what, man?
Don't
be so vague,
bro. For the gathering.
For the banquet.
For the banquet?
Yeah.
What are they going to eat at a banquet in the My Hero Academia world?
I don't know. I just restarted watching the season 3 of Fruits Baskets, and they all have a banquet. So they have a banquet on the brain.
Cool, man. I've eaten so much food this weekend that I don't have banquet on the brain. I watched some kind of wrestling match last night.
That's fun.
AEW pay-per-view, something or other. They had a party at my buddy Pete's house. And my God, did I eat so many motherfucking sandwiches. I can't even get over it. My body can't get over it either. I want to die today. But that's not my point. Point is...
Okay. What's your point? Right now you're 60% sandwich?
Yeah, and 40% asshole instead of the other way around. Yeah. So Donna Shimura, the time has not yet come. She passes that on to Gran Torino. Gran Torino passes that on to us. All Might's having a real tough time with figuring out what that means, I guess.
Yeah, he's sweating it. He looks really stressed.
How much time do you think has passed? Like I just said 40 years because I kind
don't
of thought
think
about it.
It's been 40 years. I don't.
How old do you think All Might is?
I think that All Might is supposed to only be in his like upper 30s, to be honest. I think that All Might's supposed to be like 39.
Okay.
40.
I was
Okay.
putting him in like his early to mid 40s, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's very close.
Yeah.
And I think that Nana Shimura, she passed the quirk on pretty quickly. She died young. No?
She did. So if
He was maybe in his 20s?
Yeah. So if he's been All Might for, say, 20 years, she died, let's just say roughly 20, 25 years ago.
So, yeah, I don't think it's been that long.
So maybe like closer to 30 years because basically the reason I wonder is like Gran Torino has shrunk so much.
I know. The flashback, he's so tall.
Yeah, he's like a full-grown person, and now he's a little old man. So like I'm putting him at around the 70 years old mark. Maybe back then he was a seasoned, tenured old man hero even then, but he hadn't gotten to the point of senior citizen. And he was
so
like,
maybe
you know,
he was like in his 50s.
I was thinking
50s?
I was thinking like maybe mid 40s or early 50s.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe somewhere in there. So 30 plus years later, he's a 75-year-old man still quirk jetting around.
Wow. Speedy old man. You know what he reminds me of is Mermaid Man from SpongeBob. Because in the flashbacks, Mermaid Man is like big and buff, like in the prime time on TV.
Yeah.
And now that he's an old man in the retirement home, he's like all little and hunched.
I feel like people will judge me for it. I probably have said it before, not super big on the SpongeBob, but I am familiar with who that is because of the memes.
The memes.
Thanks, memes.
The show basically was a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, anyway, that's like the first 5 minutes of the episode, honestly.
You're doing good.
So we know All for One's awoken. Nana Shimura has seen something like this, sort of, but not quite the same. All Might is kind of sweating it. Like, what does this mean for Midoriya? Like, what is the time to come? And now we've got this fight with Midoriya and Shinso. I was sick
and the
for
rest
it.
of their teams. Don't rule out the rest of their people. And the rest of
the teams. You're quite right. So we've got, like we said in the last episode, we have Uraraka, we have Mina, and we have Mineta, who can make things stick, float, and what did she say? Melt. Yep. And the teams start the fight, and Midoriya is kind of trying to do the same thing that Bakugo is doing. He's drawing out ahead, trying to get the other team to come out. I think it's Sero makes a really good observation that their team is really balanced, except they don't have a scout like they did in the fourth team. Like Jiro's spot as scout isn't being filled, so they're sort of at a disadvantage.
Yes.
And Monoma and Shinso sort of separate from the rest of their team, and they kind of have a weird bonding moment.
I liked it.
I guess. You did? I just have an aversion to Monoma, but...
Yeah, so it kind of built off of what we talked about last week with him, though. Like, he was kind of tolerable at certain points last week. This week, given that he's trying to make sure that Shinso and he work to the best of their ability together, I thought it was actually like a cool leadership tactic for him to take that route and be like, we come from, cut from a similar kind of cloth or whatever. People told me my quirk wasn't going to be good for anything except being a villain too. So, I've walked in your shoes. Let's, prove them wrong. And I thought that was a nice little moment. Monoma is becoming a more and more proper anime villain as the weeks have gone on the last few weeks.
I feel like he dresses like a villain too. His aesthetic is definitely like the bad guy. And his hero name... So his quirk is called Copy, which I do think is a pretty cool quirk premise to be able to copy other people's quirks. When they were talking about it, you know how they give us like Present Mike tells you like the little lowdown on the quirks. So he can copy one person's quirk for 5 minutes, and he can only copy one quirk at a time. But obviously, like Midoriya doesn't know that about the copy quirk. And his hero name is Phantom Thief. So again, playing up to that sort of nefarious, up to no good. I feel like he's trying to be like the baddie, but the good guy, at the same time. Trying to get all the ladies that like bad boys or something. You know what I mean? I feel like he just does it for attention.
Nah, I think he's kind of gay. That explains his perfectly picked attire.
And his
pocket watch
hair.
Collection. His perfectly
oh my gosh, his pocket
hair.
Watch.
Yeah.
They were like
his finger watch
watches.
collection. So here's the thing
with this. And a matching belt.
Of course, yeah. No, so it's not to get the ladies, Kelly. Phantom Thief is just an ironic name because he
Steals quirks.
steals quirks as if he's a thief, but also the thief is being in the name, and he's a hero. Like it's kind of hurts my brain a little, honestly. Maybe Irene's not the right thing to assign to it. Either way, dude ain't dude ain't there for the ladies. My question is, if he can only copy one quirk at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and he has up to 5 minutes with each quirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get having one finger watch or whatever the fuck to pull out of your vest.
To time it, maybe.
To time, keep a time on the 5 minutes. What's up with the 3? Why do you need
the
3?
Bling? I don't know.
You're just showing off at a certain point.
And where does he get those? Is that like part of his costume or part of his personal, like his own style?
I mean, I think you got to consider how often he's wearing his vest, right? And
he does wear that a lot, doesn't he?
And you got to consider that the finger watches probably live in the vest. So I bet you those are just kind of from his own personal collection at home. Like Momo's the rich kid in her class. Monoma maybe is the rich kid in his class.
I could see that, actually. He does have the personality of what I consider.
Which makes it even better when
kids.
Kendo, the redheaded stepchild, knocks his dumb ass out.
Mm-hmm. Who likes motorcycles and black coffee.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that about her.
Hey, man, cool thing to like.
I know. I was like, me too, bitch. Okay.
But nice moment with him and Shinso before they split off to go take care of business.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So Team Monoma and Shinso are off on their own, which means that the other team, which I think had some great teamwork, I'm really quickly going to go through who they are and what their quirks and stuff are, just so we all know. So we have Yanagi Riko, and she's Poltergeist, and then her hero name is Emily.
And we both asked each other about it.
What does that mean?
Why is her name Emily? We don't know. It's not the person who's in the movie Poltergeist, though,
which would be like logically what you would think.
That's what I Googled, and that did not come up. No. I wonder if like the phonetics Emery, Emiri, which is how it would be spelled out when they say it like that. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that means or sounds like another word in Japanese, maybe.
Maybe I can like look in on the Wikipedia page or something, but I don't know. Emily the Poltergeist.
What a stupid name.
Very silly, I think. My sister's name is Emily, and you know what? She does scare me, so.
And she got a stupid name, too.
Hey, I've actually always liked it.
Oh. Well, you know what? I have to stick to my guns. If Poltergeist girl's name Emily is stupid, I guess your sister is stupid, too. Sorry. Kelly's sister, right. Emily.
She'll never listen, so it's fine.
That's cool.
Well, her quirk is that she can move and like control anything that she's touched that's near her, weighing up to the amount of an average person. So this means that she cannot touch like a bunch of really heavy barrels because she's got like a weight limit to what she can move around. And I feel like it's what she can have up in the air total. I don't think it's per individual thing.
Yeah, so she'll take like really small items like nuts and bolts and screws and things like that.
Touch all of them.
And then uses them in conjunction with her teammate rules in some cases to make them bigger so that way she can like float around on one like it's a goddamn hoverboard, you know?
That was cool, yes. That girl's name was Yui Kodai. No, Kodai Yui. And her quirk is size. And like you said, her hero name is Rule. Like ruler, I think. Right? Yep. Changing. And she can change the size. Everything non-living. She can't change the size of living things.
So no dick jokes, you pervs.
And then last but not least was Soda Narigenki. And he had twin impact. His hero name is Mines. And then his is really cool. He can create a second impact to anything that he's already hit in the same spot. He's hit it at his discretion, so he can have it go off at any time, and it's more powerful than the original hit had been.
So when we say hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because he's hitting somebody like with his fist or something, or is he throwing something at them, and then he just decides like, all right, 5 minutes later, in the middle of this battle, I want to have that
goes off.
Kidney blow again.
I'm not sure because the way they used it in this scene is he ends up using his quirk in conjunction to the other two. Like, the three of them have great teamwork, and I think that their quirks all worked really well together. Poltergeist would move around small things. Rule would have them be smaller or make them bigger when they were attacking. And then the second impact would go off from those things, which makes me think that he hit them. Like, he punched the stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
And then it went off, and then when he
I watched it 3 times and I didn't get a real quick. Like my
doesn't
one
really answer.
My one gripe with this episode is that this scene between the two 3-on-3, for, people who aren't Deku, Shinso, and Monoma, it's a really cool scene. Just like we said, the way the quirks work together to make this different kind of strategy that you might not expect. Because when you hear everyone's individual quirks on paper, it's like, it's cool, but how effective will it be in battle? They've figured out a way to be able to do it. I have a fly flying around me, and it's driving me
saw that too.
Fucking crazy. So my only gripe would be that we didn't get to see enough of this part, and it was all very, very fast. I could have taken another couple minutes of this fight. It would have been cool.
Yes, agreed, because I have a lot of questions about it. The fight seemed really cool. I really do wonder how 1A is going to do long-term up against this kind of attack, because they seem to be struggling in that brief scene we saw. I mean, Ashido uses her acid to block some of it, and they kind of float away, but mostly it seems like they're just defending and kind of sheltering themselves from this attack rather than actually able to counterattack at any point. So I'm curious too. I'm curious how these quirks would work if they weren't all together. Like, just being able to make something small and big, I don't know, like, how useful is that really, unless you've got a lot of really good martial arts skills?
Yeah.
I don't know. Controlling the objects is pretty cool, I guess. But if it's always just nuts and bolts, like...
I mean,
I guess they could be like bullets.
Exactly. You have those things fly fast enough at people that could fuck somebody up.
Yeah. Twin Impact. I'm most curious about that one.
I want to see how Twin Impact works by itself.
Me too. I think that, I don't know if I just made this up, but I think that he said it could be kind of unpredictable because the impact can be so much stronger, but you don't really know how much until it happens. So I feel like, or I might have made that up, honestly. So
stop making shit up, Kelly.
Sorry. Somebody tell me if that was right.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. I think there's a comment section somewhere there, maybe.
Eventually, yeah.
There's a YouTube.
Click around.
Yeah, go leave a comment on the YouTube. Rate and subscribe on the YouTube. Nice. Do you rate things on YouTube? You don't. You like things.
You like things, yes.
Like this video and subscribe, you nerd.
Subscribe to our videos.
Ting.
So that fight's going on while Midoriya ends up kind of facing off with Monoma, Phantom Thief, And he's copied Poltergeist's quirk. So he's like flying around on these little barrels or whatever. He's like throwing projectiles at Midoriya. And he had asked Shinso earlier, like, hey, what did you say to Deku at the sports festival to get him all like riled up? Because you really got under his skin. And he's like, oh, I just insulted one of his friends. Because I didn't know what kind of person he was. And that tends to work on people. And Monoma totally copies it because he's like, yo, I don't know how you can even be friends with Bakugo. How can this guy even be facing everyone with a smile on his face? It's his fault that All Might had to go into retirement. Okay.
Stupid,
I was like, my blood pressure
famous
is
last
rising.
Words. And then it just cuts to Deku, and then you see the
pulsating.
The pulsation of the One for All come over him. And I'm just like, oh, you done fucked up now, Monoma.
It's like, wow, you made a mistake, buddy, because I think that you just set something off, and we're about to see some crazy shit. And I was so excited for Midoriya to just totally kick his butt. But that's not exactly what happens.
What happens, Kelly?
Midoriya sort of has like this explosion of power come out of his arms, and he has these crazy, like, spider-like tentacles all fly out of power, and it turns into, like, a total shit show. He clearly, you can tell right away that this isn't normal. He wasn't expecting this. I mean, obviously, we know we've never seen him do this, and he seems to be in, like, pretty serious pain.
True.
What did you think of this? Like when this first, because I've read the manga, so I sort of was expecting this. What did you think of this, the way this new quirk revealed itself?
Yeah, I definitely had this spoiled for me a year ago. Not how the
Mm,
quirk comes to be, but what the
what
quirk
it was.
was. So I did know that Black Whip was sooner or later showing up in this
Coming
anime,
out.
but I didn't expect it to be now. I guess it kind of makes sense, like we talked about earlier. That dream that he had where it broke his window in his dorm was like
Mm-hmm.
less than 8 hours ago or something. So it makes sense for it to happen now. I thought it was pretty scary. Like the voice actor for Deku does a
Oh my
tremendous
gosh.
job conveying like how much pain he is in trying to suppress this because he doesn't know what the hell is going on.
Yes.
He doesn't know how much more power could potentially come out of him. He's just trying to control it, and he's him just telling everybody to run. Like Monoma, get away! I don't know what's happening. He skeets off on his little floaty
Barrels.
poltergeist. Was
Yeah.
it barrels?
I thought they were shrunken barrels. Yeah.
I thought that there was just like a couple of pairs of like nuts and bolts. Who knows? But Monoma skeets out of there. Deku crashes through like some part of the stage, and Shinso is right there, and he gives him the same thing, like "Get out of here! I can't control what's about to happen." Um,
Yes.
it was scary.
For
It was
sure.
pretty intense.
I think I 100% agree. I feel like I oftentimes like Japanese. I like to watch it subtitled because I feel like Japanese voice actors really get into it so well. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like in English they don't put as much like emotion behind it because you could feel not only how painful it is, but also how scary it is. He definitely doesn't want to hurt his teammates and he cannot make it stop. He tries to like kick his own arms down
Oh
and
man,
that's
right?
not working. He's like crying when he flies into that. I mean, the quirk is whipping him all over the place. He's clearly not in any control. And when he flies into that building, Shinso is like, looks so shocked and definitely like he doesn't know what to do. He's sweating, like I feel like the whole vibe, the episode did a really good job of making everyone feel like, whoa, this is a crazy big deal and that it like hurts. Oh, I can't believe it is painful. I felt so bad. I think that was it. Uraraka is the first one who notices that it's Midoriya, that all of these explosions, and she flies. She doesn't even like reconsider for a second. She just flies right over to him to try to calm him down. And she did a great job too, trying to get through to him, like calling his name and stuff. Oh my God. It's the
I
first
think
time I was like kind of into the two of them. I was like, all right,
oh,
Uraraka.
finally Kelly ships them. That was probably my favorite moment of this episode was seeing her fly in like this kid is exploding with power, like suspended in the middle of the
Yes.
air right now from this
She doesn't
black
even
whatever.
flinch.
Nobody knows what the hell it is. And she just flies in and grabs him and she's like, dude, calm down, just
Mm-hmm.
calm down. Her helmet flies off, and I'm like, Jesus, that's a nice helmet.
Yeah. And they're being whipped all over the place. And I mean, it was a scary situation, but she was so calm. And we get a really cute flashback to her when she was young. And she's talking about how her family was always tired and stressed. And when she first saw a hero work for the first time, it made everyone so happy. But it got her thinking, what happens when the heroes need help, who helps the heroes. And she talks about how she's seen Deku go through so much, so she just wants to help him. And that was a really beautiful moment. And she's got this great idea, like Shinso, use brainwashing to stop Deku. Like he doesn't want to do this. He can't stop himself. He used brainwashing to stop him. And he also has like a mini little flashback about Midoriya. And he's like, oh my God, I've been wanting to have a rematch against you. Like, I want to be a hero. Clearly, he idolizes Midoriya in a way, I think. So he's like, fight me. And Deku's like, yeah. Oh my God, it was really beautiful.
And he says it with a smile, his creepy skeleton All Might
I
smile.
know.
Yeah.
Fight me. Yeah. Oh, man. But then we get what we've been waiting for, right?
And I'd say that's what we've been waiting for, yeah.
This whole time, we've been like, what's going to happen with Shinso? What's going to happen with Midoriya? What's going to happen with One for All? Something's going down. And as soon as Midoriya is brainwashed, he's in his little dreamscape, right? With this big bald dude. Did they ever tell us what his name was? They
I
didn't
don't
tell us his
believe
name,
so.
do they?
I'm just giving him the shorthand of goggles because he had some sweet fucking goggles on his
Yeah, he
forehead.
did. And he looked tough, right? He looked like a big, tough guy.
Looked like he could arm wrestle All Might if he wanted.
Yeah, he did. I liked his character design. I thought he looked cool. And Midoriya's there. You know, his mouth is covered like last time, but now he has both hands. I don't know if you noticed.
I did. Yeah, he has
Yeah.
both hands and still just the eyes.
The eyes.
You can't see from his nose down in this dream, but he does talk back, doesn't he?
I don't think so.
Maybe he just thinks it in this goggles. We're calling them goggles.
Can kind of infer. I think he says, "Oh, you don't have a mouth," right?
That's
He's
weird.
Like, oh, what's up? You don't have a mouth? Weirdo.
Yeah. I guess that's him just reading his thoughts then, or whatever.
I mean, they're inside of him, aren't they?
This sounds worse than you mean it to sound.
I mean, they're like in his head, right?
Oh, yes.
So it would make sense for them to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Working through it. This is magical
quirks
explanation stuff.
Yeah. We finally get some answers a little bit, which was awesome. So this guy says to him, this power that you've had so far, you can't just use it willy-nilly anymore because it's been growing, it's been evolving. Like all for one for all. Oh no. Wait.
Yeah, now you're doing it too.
This is the worst. One for All has gone through 8 people, and it started off as this little core, and it's just grown and grown, and the quirk itself now is so much stronger. But not only that, all of our quirks, all of the people who have had it before, our quirks are in here too, and they've also gotten stronger. He says, like, I think you must have thought to yourself just then, I'm going to capture that guy. And that's what my quirk was best at. My quirk is Black Whip. And it's a very useful quirk, but now it's even stronger than I ever had it, so you're going to have to work harder than ever in order to master this. He literally says you're the person who's going to complete One for All. And you're going to have 6 more quirks manifest within you. So, for me, none of this stuff was new or unexpected because I've read the manga. But I feel like for everyone else, for people who've just been watching the show, this was a ton of information all at once. Like, not only is Deku getting a new quirk right now, it's a new super powerful quirk, and he's going to have 6 more. And we're just told this all during this little brainwashing session. And I feel like this kind of really maybe changes where the show's going. I feel like it gives us a lot more possibilities. What did you think of learning that we're going to have 6 more quirks? He's getting a new quirk literally right now.
So I guess I'm kind of curious to see how the show is sort of paced now in terms of when these quirks choose to manifest. Like, is he going to get one at a time slowly over the rest of his, hero high school journey, whatever? Or is it going to come in pretty quick succession? Is it going to come, over the course of the rest of, the next arc or 2 or something, before the end of his first year at school, is he going to have, these 6 other quirks in his arsenal as well? So I'm kind of just curious, like, if it does go that way of like waiting for these 6 things to manifest, it kind of gives it some sense of like, I don't know, an outline or a game plan, but
right.
I don't think that's what they're gonna do. It doesn't sound like a very My Hero Academia thing to do to me. To
just do one, like, oh, here's this one.
Yeah,
here's this one.
Like
one.
With especially with the all for one tease at the beginning of this episode and him saying the line, I can hear my brother's voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost and I think Goggles, we're calling him Goggles, the first holder that he speaks with, Black Whip's quirk guy, he says something to the effect of One for All is growing still and moving, which I didn't really know what the heck he could have meant by that, but the time is obviously approaching that Nana Shimura quoted from her dream or whatever. The time has not yet come, but I guess the time soon will be here. Deku being the person to complete One for All.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine they're just going to string us along and slowly give us 6 quirks over the next few years of anime. I mean,
Right.
I could be wrong. I just don't think that that would be a very smart play or a very
It would be very
my hero.
predictable.
It would be, and it
Yeah.
would be a very easy kind of outline for them to be able to stick to without having to get into too many other big crazy specifics or different stories in this world. And they've not. I mean, the overhaul arc was something that didn't really connect to most of what else was going on outside the fact that he worked in tandem with Shigaraki. That was kind of the connection to the greater story. I'm
Mm.
probably glossing over a couple of other details in this moment, but
No,
season
you're right,
4
though.
kind of felt like a break from seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Right. It
Um,
was like new hero, kind of like a little side adventure almost.
yeah, if we just learned that season 5 on is going to be, Deku slowly acquiring all of his quirks and mastering them from the former holders of One for All, and that'll be seasons 6, 7, and 8 or something, like
Mm.
that would be fucking awful, a terrible idea. So I imagine they're going to manifest in pretty quick fashion, or at least I hope.
I also really wonder, I mean, I agree. I do not think that they would go one at a time. It would be predictable. And I think there's just too many other characters that have important plots and too much going on for it to just all of a sudden be like, let's go through a really slow training arc with Midoriya for
I
all of
mean,
these
we
new
say that,
quirks.
but we say that in the middle of this arc right
This
here,
arc,
where
that's
yeah.
true.
I mean, it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison because this all takes place over the course of
One
an
day.
afternoon or a morning
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it would be because I feel like at that point it'd be like a Pokemon journey. Like you got to go get all
Mm,
your gym badges so you can go fight the Elite Four, and like you have to collect all the quirks to be able to get ready to fight all for one when the
yeah,
time
the
comes.
main baddie.
If the show suddenly shifted to that, I would be very, very surprised. So,
Mm,
I guess we'll see, but I feel like I feel like things will manifest pretty quickly. But this is my question now that we
hmm
know Shinso has been a part of both of these. I guess not the dream, but from the sports festival is when Deku first got brainwashed into that weird little realm and saw the vestiges of just like shadows with eyes, basically.
hmm
And then today he sees things much more clearly and he has this full on conversation with quantum goggles. Could we proactively use, now that we know too that I guess everybody in One for All like expects to be able to pass down their quirk to Deku or have that quirk manifest within him? Could we like proactively use Shinso's quirk to throw Deku into like this meditative state on a regular basis to have him do like training sessions in there on a regular basis?
I don't know, like meditation almost,
Yeah.
like a mindfulness, a guided meditation with Shinso. I don't know.
He wants to like rent out Shinso services for an hour one afternoon, like once a week. He's like, "Hey man, you brainwash me, say some wild shit, I'll say yeah, and then I can go train with the former holders."
I don't know. That would definitely be interesting. They have introduced him back into the narrative. You know what I mean? Like, why bring Shinso up if he's never going to be useful in the show? You know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking today too?
What?
A lot of what Shinso said back when the sports festival happened, he kept saying like, "One of you people could lose your spot in the hero course and I'll replace you."
Mm-hmm.
Who's he going to replace if that happens? Does if he does make it into the hero course, which I kind of hope he does, is he going to replace
I
somebody
hope
in
it's
class?
Mineta.
He's too smart. He's like really good on paper with his grades and shit. Little nerd.
Hmm.
Who
Why
do
do
you
they
think
have to? Why can't they just have one extra?
That's what I'm saying. They put him as the one extra in this class. That would
Yeah,
be a
just
good
add
way to do
him.
it. But I just thought it was so strange that in that sports festival arc, they definitely lean heavy into you're gonna lose your spot and I'm gonna take
Somebody's
it.
gonna drop out.
Think someone's gonna drop out? I was thinking somebody's gonna get
And I
either
just mean like, just so that he could take their place.
oh well
Yeah.
maybe somebody get booted or
See you later, alligator.
killed.
Die? Oh
Dun 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 dun.
no. We
I
got
don't
a
know.
murder out here.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think that's a very good question. And then my other question too is like, what are these quirks gonna be? As much as I really don't think that they're going to do one quirk at a time, but I do think it's super smart that they are introducing this. I feel like this is a game changer for the show because it does give you a whole bunch of new things to be curious about. How fast is he going to get these quirks? What are these quirks? You know what I mean? We don't know. Are they all going to be powerful? Are they all going to be...
I'll just be honest. Without spoiling anything for our non-manga reader listeners who probably laugh at me each week and think, man, this kid don't know shit about what's about to happen. I did have some of the other quirks accidentally spoiled for me the other day, and I've been doing my best to try to push them out of my brain. I'm not going to share them here, but hopefully I forget them by the time they happen. I mean, unless they happen in very rapid fashion, in which case it won't really matter, I guess.
That's true.
I've been spoiled on Black Whip for like about a year.
Same. Me too. I did know this was coming for a while. I think that it seems like it's going to be a really cool quirk for him to use. You know what I mean? Having a long-ranged kind of attack to go with his super strength. I feel like Midoriya's going to be unstoppable.
Spider-Man vibes, I'm telling you.
Definitely, it was Spider-Man vibes, for sure. Do you remember when they first talked about All for One, how he said that sometimes it gets passed down out of necessity rather than out of carefully picking someone? Do you remember that?
I don't think I do.
I think it's very briefly mentioned about how sometimes somebody's like on the brink of death, so they just have to pass it on to someone so that it doesn't die off. So I feel like some of these quirks are maybe going to be kind of either weird or like useless even. You know what I mean?
Or like somebody, it could be, you know, the opposite of that. Could be like somebody who didn't need to take on All for One or
True,
One for All.
They already had a crazy powerful quirk.
Because they already had a crazy powerful quirk. And the other thing I like too is that they kind of let us know that Black Whip, the iteration that dude had it in, was way less powerful than what Deku's currently going to be working with because of how long it's been melding with the other powers of One for All. See, I'm getting it. So Deku having to manage something like that much more powerful, having to temper his heart and be of pure heart and all that, because that's kind of like the trigger, I feel. I think it's kind of cute that Bakugo being made fun of or being blamed by Monoma was the thing to set Deku off like this, to be honest.
Triggered.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's his boy. It's his best friend.
His boyfriend.
It's not his boyfriend. It's his best friend. Even if Bakugo doesn't want to admit it.
I know. I'm so glad I don't think that they're able to hear what was said, because I feel like Bakugo would have taken that so personally to have another student say that about him.
Yeah, he'd have cried about it.
I think so too. Maybe not right then, but he would have gone to bed, cried into his pillow.
Or maybe he would have whooped dude's ass.
Maybe, but I don't think he would have interrupted the class.
Probably not.
Probably not. Anyway, so that was like a crazy big reveal. And I feel like the episodes coming up are going to be really interesting. I bet a bunch of people are totally on the edge of their seat right now, thinking to themselves, like, what's going to happen next? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. All these quirks. So My Hero Academia is just like definitely up the stakes for Midoriya here.
Can't wait to see how this goes.
Me too. And he finally snaps out of it. You know, Uraraka, they're like slowly floating back down to Earth, and she smacks him a good one in the face to be like, wake up, dude. You're having an episode.
It's a callback to this entrance exam, right?
Yeah.
She's got a good slap. Solid.
She does have a good slap. I feel like Midoriya likes it. Girl that can push him around a little bit.
He was unconscious.
All right, you're right. That makes it weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have like a cute little moment because they're like, are you okay? Like, Shinso saved you. Like, what's going on? And they don't even have 1 second to process all of this stuff that happened, because as soon as they get to the ground, Monoma's right there to keep fighting, to have the fight keep going. And all the kids show up, and it just turns into like a complete crazy showdown, a brawl. That's what they call it. And that's what the next episode is, our brawl.
Yeah, Monoma just scoots in there like the perfect anime villain he's destined to become.
You distracted? What's up?
Yeah, for real. Oh, you just had a bad time? All right, let me put you in the chokey, pal.
Yeah, we're going to get you. Don't know what that was, but seems like you're distracted, so
one of the little badass moments though, like that kind of got me pumped at the end of the episode, and I'm like, ooh, is they're all like in the middle of this nonsense. Deku's kind of getting his feet under him again and kind of realizing what's going on as Mineta and Mino run into the scene to help protect them or whatever. All right, we're all together now, cool. And they just decide, all right, we're all going to attack. Shinso kind of standing like, not like in the shadows. They're aware that he's there, but he's behind them sort of. He shoots his rap down at Uraraka to try to scoop her up. And Deku, like all disoriented, just have this black whip thing happen to him. He just steps in and grabs it. And I'm like, ooh, this kid's about to whoop someone's ass.
He's in fight mode right now.
Can't wait.
I know, me too. And All Might and Vlad and Aizawa finally are like on the scene because they were originally going to break it up. All Might had been like, this isn't normal. Because obviously he would know, like he had the quirk first. He's like, this has never happened to me. Like this isn't normal. You have to stop this. And when they finally catch up to them, it's kind of calmed down a little bit. And Aizawa, that crazy motherfucker that he is like, we're gonna just see how this plays out. Like, let's just let this keep going. They've got it under control. It's fine.
His little Aizawa Jr. has got to show off his rap techniques.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he's excited for a Midoriya Shinso showdown.
I think we all are. Let's be real.
Yeah, the teachers totally stand it. They're so excited. I'm so excited.
So for next week, the episode preview doesn't give us a ton, but
no, just seems like a fight.
It's called Our Brawl. Our Brawl. And Deku, I think, alludes to I don't know if this is what will happen or not, but he kind of alludes to the idea that he isn't going to be using his quirk so much next week because he's worried that a big freak out might happen again.
Yes, he doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have Black Whip pop out. That sounded... Anyway, he doesn't want to hurt anybody with his quirk that he's yet to be able to control. Right. So if that's the case, it'll basically be what they did at the end of the sports festival in their fight, which was just run at each other and slap fight and then push each other out the ring or something.
Yes, totally a bitch fight, pulling each other's hair and shit. Stop it.
Although, you know, I got some martial arts training under their belts now, and Shinso's got the rap. He didn't have that before.
True.
So
no, I think it's still going to be a cool fight. I don't think they would call it a brawl. You know what I mean? There's something about the word brawl that makes you think of like a bar fight. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like it's going to be chaotic and violent.
I mean, Mina Ashido can throw hands. She will whoop ass. I mean, and Achako, she gunhead martial arts, you know? She got to represent.
Totally a bad bitch for sure.
One of my favorite shots from this episode, though, is like when Deku kind of realizes that I think it's whenever the word brawl comes on the screen for the translation. There's this awesome shot of Mineta like in the foreground with the most ridiculous look on his face and like all the chaos going on behind him. And he's like in the fight, ready to fuck things up. And I'm like, ooh, Mineta, get yours, son. Why didn't he annoy me today?
Well, we only saw him for like a total of 7 seconds.
And he didn't try to grab anyone's titties or anything.
He didn't have the opportunity to be gross. Yeah.
Good for him. I guess that's some kind of growth.
Just don't give him the opportunity to be himself and he's tolerable.
Yeah, just don't give him enough time to do anything except what he has to do to survive in the moment.
That does sound like a strategy to use against him all the time.
Yeah. Well, this took a turn. Anyway, preview for next week. I'm amped. Our brawl.
Me too. A brawl. I can't wait. I can't wait for a brawl. I can't wait to see what happens.
Our brawl. Who's brawl?
Bar brawl.
Bar brawl. Our brawl.
Why does that sound like a medication? Bar brawl.
Farmer overalls.
Oh, do you wear those on the farm?
No, I don't have any overalls.
When you're wrangling chickens?
I don't wrangle chickens. I didn't have to wrangle any ducks last week.
Oh, how'd that go, by the way?
It didn't happen. It's a long story. If you all need to know the story, tough cookies. It's not for you to know. Before we wrap up this week, we do have kind of a couple of birthdays. Mentioned them last week. 28th, Masahiro Ojiro on May 28th. And we had a pretty cool Ojiro episode last week where...
Heck yeah.
Was it last week? He was on Bakugo's team, right? Or was it 2 weeks ago?
No, 2 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago, because he had the spinny gyro.
Yeah, gyrate.
Person. Yeah.
Drill hands.
Yes. Getting chunks of his tail taken out.
that's pretty much Ojiro's coolest moments though. Like whenever
Yeah.
he has a fight scene like that, like we don't get to see too much of him as a person. I think we just get to see him as a super underrated martial art expert because
Yes.
I never think much of his stupid quirk.
No, I know. And it's like a running joke. All of the teammates call him so ordinary. They always just refer to him as ordinary for some reason. And I think having a giant tail and being like really dexterous with it is very unordinary, but that's just me.
The other one I love about Ojiro is the USJ, and they all get split up into different zones or whatever. He's in that
Mm,
fire zone, and I think he's more or less alone. And he is kind of just like hitting and running against all of these villains and kind of keeping them at bay as best he can, given that he's, like in week 1 of high school and,
right.
entry level. No, I'm not entry level martial artist, but um, everyone's kind of, like we said, have him as this underrated person. And I'm like, oh man, this guy's going to die.
Crazy.
But no, he's a badass and holds his own.
I actually just have a really random question about him because I haven't really thought of it much before, but his tail furred?
I think so.
So does the fur just end at the base of his tail? Like right above his butt?
I don't think it's totally furred. I think it's the tip of it's furred.
So then the rest of it's just skin?
I think so.
Okay.
At Comic-Con a few years ago, probably like 5 years ago now, there was this dude in a proper class 1A uniform, like
Okay.
the jacket and the pants and stuff. And
Yeah.
he had like attached to his hips this couple of bars and like what was meant to be Hagakure off to his right.
Oh,
And you
okay,
could
because
like
she's invisible. That's really funny.
yeah, so
Okay.
you could like see the skirt and the jacket and stuff. But I was like, yo, Hagakure, that's crazy. That's funny, whatever. So like it was definitely um past time for me to leave on a Sunday afternoon. I don't think I was
Mm-hmm.
working that one. But like I stopped and asked the cosplayer, I'm like, yo, that's so cool. The Hagakure, cosplay. That's great. I see that you're also a student from 1A. Who are you? Are you anyone in particular? And he turns around and he's got this huge prosthetic thing attached to him that I couldn't see to be Ojiro's tail. And then I
Mm.
realized that he's got like a blonde wig on, and I'm like, all right, word, this makes sense. And I was just so fired up to figure out that it was Ojiro. I was like, hey, you ever think that his big old tail just looks like a big cock? And he just got very uncomfortable because he seemed like a very polite, introverted gentleman. He just got very uncomfortable with my question to him and was
He's
like,
gonna walk around like that all day.
just laughed nervously. And I was like, think about it. And I left.
Don't think about it. Think about it when you go home and you've changed and you're not wearing it anymore.
Nope.
Oh man.
Nope. He wanted him to be self-conscious about his awesome cosplay. So I'm such an
Nice.
asshole. The other birthday, yesterday's birthday, May 30th, Yuga Aoyama, Chizu, I cannot stop twinkling himself.
Nice. I love him.
Trying to think, do you have any favorite Aoyama moments?
I have a favorite Aoyama moment. My favorite Aoyama moment to this day is when they're doing their secret move training and he just like presses his belly up against this really long thing of rock and blasts a hole through it. And the whole thing is very suggestive and kills me. It's my favorite moment ever. And it's honestly one of my favorite moments of the show in general. Like, I just think it's funny and really memorable.
It's from last season. I think I remember us talking about that.
It's just so suggestive. I was like, okay.
I really like that first fight that he has with Mina and all the shit they talk to each other about how each of them is pretty terrible and how they're going to kick each other's asses in the sports festival.
Oh, in the sports festival, yes.
Yeah. And Mina just fucking houses the dude all day and gets acid on his belt and breaks it. And
yeah.
But like, I didn't remember. I watched the clip pretty recently and I didn't remember how much shit he talked back to her. I just kind of thought he took it and was like, yeah, whatever. But no, he's like, yeah, all right. I think he calls her dumb at a certain point. Like,
never.
Yeah. Like,
no way.
Aoyama's a little sassier than I remember him being way back then.
Mina does, I think she is sort of academically challenged. I think it's part of the show where she's like, her and Denki and stuff, like they're always like
they're in
trying to cram.
They're in the remedial reading group for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, obviously Aoyama's definitely in love with Deku, and that's why we talk about cheese on this podcast so much.
No, oh my gosh, he's beautiful too. I love him.
He does have very nice hair. So happy birthday to Yuga Aoyama yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Today, we were recording May 31st.
It's Memorial Day today.
It is. But you know what else it is?
No, Monday.
It's Feds' birthday as well.
No way, Feds.
So Feds is
34?
Probably celebrating his birthday right now. Let's see. If I'm going to be 32, then he's 34. Yes.
34.
34.
Gonna be 35? Like, did he just turn 35?
No, just turned 34.
Just turned 34.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Feds. I wish it was better weather for you for Memorial Day weekend.
I spent lots of time with Feds over the Memorial Day weekend, and we had a blast.
Awesome.
At least on my part, lots of drinking. Oof. I feel like crap this week. Happy birthday to you, Feds. My favorite Feds moment. I don't know. I have too many. Been friends with Feds for like fucking 20 years, so
tough. A lot of memories.
Yeah, tough to pinpoint one. Do I have any fun Fed stories that aren't incriminating? He probably has way more fun stories about me because I'm the reckless friend. He's the one who makes sure I don't get arrested and die.
So, I mean, he's a homeowner now, so he's very responsible.
Yeah, but Feds has always been pretty responsible, especially when I'm acting super irresponsible, historically speaking. So there you go.
Somebody's got to keep you in line when you're acting up.
Yeah, I think I figured it out. Feds is the MVP for making sure I didn't die between the ages of 14 and 23, maybe we'll say.
Well, so we wouldn't even have this show without him.
Yep, thanks, you got Feds to blame. You can direct your hate mail at Feds.
My favorite Feds moment is when we had Kachan's birthday episode, and he called in and told us his favorite Bakugo moment. In the whole episode, we'd always called him Bakugo the whole time, and he just kept calling him Kachan in the voicemail, and I thought it was really cute. He was like, "Happy birthday, Kachan." I was like, "Oh."
Oh, he identifies as Deku.
Kachan, they're friends.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's cute.
Happy birth, Feds.
Happy birthday.
Happy birth.
Happy birthday.
No new reviews for me to read today. If you want to get a review, help us out. Hey, Apple Podcasts, links in the show notes. Leave us a review. Don't you do that now. Or do that now.
So good, Kyle.
That's all I do is just make up songs in my head all day.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any final thoughts for the people before we get the F out of here?
My final thought is just that I'm super excited to see where this is going to take us. I am really interested in what's going to happen when this little arc is ending, because obviously this arc is wrapping up. I mean, next episode I feel like is going to be the final episode of these fights.
I could see him string it out for 2. Don't get excited for next week to be the final episode. Maybe, though.
I think it'll be the final one, but you're right. Maybe it's 2. And then after that, I don't know what we're going to see, and I'm really excited for it. So I hope you guys are too.
Can't wait to see Deku black whip a motherfucker to death.
I think it sounds like a kick-ass combination of powers. Super strength and then this black whip. I think it's going to be real cool.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gonna raise my hand with the peace sign, and it's happy birthday, Bedu.